Nail and beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. The Salon Success Podcast is recorded live on Mondays at 5 p.m. New Zealand time via facebook.com/Monaco Nail Academy and is available on Spotify and Google playlists. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco, and I am joined by Rochelle.
Hi guys.
Who is Aphrodite.iris everywhere good social media is found. And Tony's with us today.
Hi.
Who is TLC.nailsnz.
Yep.
Yes. And we've got Mariah actually in-house with us. No lagging today. So Mariah is wished for nails.
You did like a double the fingers.
Yeah, I kind of. Yeah.
fingers.
Mariah just did double crossed fingers, and it really did look a little bit like pulling the bird for a second there.
Okay, there we go.
Those of you listening just missed out on comedy gold.
Yeah.
You guys get me in full force today.
And everyone's like in a real good mood because we're gonna go have like dinner after this, and we're all together. We're not usually all in the same room at the same time, and we're all a little bit
Ships in the
giggly.
night normally.
Yeah, ships in the night. Alrighty, so today's topic is something that I know can be boring, but before you click off, it's not, because we're very giggly. So it's going to be very entertaining and not annoying at all. We're going to talk about money stuff. The sort of theme today is this little, I found a little quote thing that I quite liked. That was that said that the listeners don't know what you're doing. Mariah's just on a miming roll today.
I'm making it rain.
She's trying. Well, that's the goal, though. So I found a little saying thing that said, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. And I just really liked that because why is it not showing on? There it is. Okay. So I really liked it because I think that so many people, and I was too, are focused on money's coming in, so everything's fine. And that's not actually good enough. So sorry to be a buzzkill, but I definitely thought right at the start, like, I don't need to know all these things because there's money in my bank account.
Yeah.
And like, I hadn't really put a proper business plan together or anything like that because I was never intending for it to be a proper business. Like, my intention was to do nails a couple of times a day, 6 days a week while I looked for another job.
Yeah.
I just never looked for another job.
And so many of our students go into home salons and for themselves that it's like, oh, it's just the thing that I do while kids are at school.
My rent is paid and I have groceries, therefore I'm profitable, and that's not it. So the idea that revenue is vanity. So how revenue, for those of you, because I didn't know what revenue meant, but revenue is the big number, the number that's coming in, everything incoming. So revenue is vanity. A common thing in like social media and marketing is that like the numbers of likes are a vanity metric. Yeah. Vanity is basically, it makes you feel good, but that's about all it does. So revenue is vanity and profit is sanity, because profit is what you have left over, and that's what is actually going to keep you sane in the long run. As I definitely found, and I think a few of you have like hopefully realized earlier than I did. So I don't know. What are your guys' initial thoughts? I have some stuff to run through, but do you have any experiences with going too far in one direction?
Oh yeah.
Come on then, Rochelle.
So because I was working a full-time job, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got all this extra money. And I like I said in another podcast, I think I went through about 4 tables. I bought way too much glitter and nail art. Don't look at me like that, Penny.
I can't help it.
We kind of go from buying clothes and shoes to just buying nail stuff.
Oh, 100%, because I'm a shopaholic, and I freely admit that. Like, I'm not at a credit card because it just does not work.
I buy knitting yarn and plants.
But not plants because I kill them.
Oh, you'll get there.
Yeah, but I just went nuts. And then I actually did the how to set your prices, which you can buy at Monaco online.
Honestly, you're gonna have so many chances to talk about it today.
And I was like, oh crap. Like, I need to just like hone in on this.
Pull it back.
So I'm kind of happy that I came to that conclusion before I've gone like full time. because now I'm like, okay, this is what happens. This is my routine. Once all my clients are done for the day, this is how I know how much I've made today. This is like,
I was kind of the same, but because I kind of knew what I was doing in terms of background, all the bookkeeping, but I knew that I was getting a full income from my full-time job and nails was just on the side. So I knew that I would just get a big tax return at the end of the tax year because I made a loss on purpose because I didn't care. I just knew that I was already stable, paying all my bills with my main job. My nail money was just for fun.
I think there's a damaging rumor that getting a tax refund because you made a loss is a good thing. And like, no, there's no
Not
such
for your
thing.
business,
Like, and this, I still struggle with this, but it's the best thing I was told is that like being told you owe tax is an honor. Like that's like you did a good job. Like because you only pay tax on your profit. You don't pay tax on your revenue. And that's because tax can sometimes be quite high. It feels like you paid the more money you made, the worse it was. But you're only paying tax on what you had spare. If that's all gone, that's on you, buddy. Like maybe you shouldn't have spent it all, but you don't pay tax on revenue. You're not being punished for making money. You are. It's like, it's kudos. Like you did a good job. What about you, Mariah? Did you luck out following advice early, or did you make some mistakes?
I think I'm like the other end of the spectrum. I think I'm a bit of a Scrooge McDuck.
Because tell them about your drawer.
My drawer?
Yes, your drawer of cash money.
Oh,
please share.
Okay,
wait,
so
Vanilla?
And every so often the client would obviously like paying cash because they just happened to, or it was their preference or whatever. And because it didn't happen that often, I'd just always be like, okay, shove it in the drawer, I'll deal with you later, kind of thing, because the money just kept coming in.
That's not how I work.
No, me neither.
Yeah. Neither do I now.
Well, now it's like, oh, off to lunch.
So you hit the end of the drawer.
So come to the end of December, and I was like, oh, wow, this is actually quite a little cash stash I got going on here. And me and my record keeping were phenomenal, not. So I had to go, literally, I had to go through a year's worth of clients, working out who paid and by what method and how much that they paid, which I was so not good at keeping a track of.
She didn't just pocket it, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, so literally there was over $1,000 in cash
sitting in her drawer.
Which I just think of all the tradies I'd had through my house as well, and I'm so glad none of them were undie sniffers, let's just say. You said giggly. I took license.
Now I'm gonna have to tick the explicit content button when I publish this to Spotify.
This is New Zealand. Tradies who just do all sorts of things. Yeah. Anyways, I had to go through an account for basically where I'd found over $1,000 worth of cash. Now, literally every single time a client leaves my chair, it's the next thing I do is sit down at the computer and enter it into a spreadsheet.
Yes.
So I'm that guy now. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty tempting to just go, oh, wow, I'm going shopping. I'm not going to lie. I did it, but with like 2 notes, and then I was like, oh, no, put it back. Like, it's too dangerous.
I don't think I was a Scrooge to start with, but it was my living money. So it was just like, okay, this week I can do this. And like, it was the first time I ever had disposable income. And the stupid thing is that, I think I've told this story before, when I did actually have someone point out to me that I should look at my costs and expenses, it turned out that I was making a lot of money on one service and negative money on another, and so one was paying for the other. So although I did have money in the bank, it wasn't smart money. But so it was the first time I'd ever had disposable income. Some of it through like myself, like when I had a monthly salaried job, I was putting like basically all my spare, I think like $500 or might have even been $1,000 into a savings account every month. So it was sort of forced poverty. But this was the first time where I was like, oh, I have money, I can do things. So I tend to shout people things when I have spare money because I want everyone to enjoy it. And so that was a little bit of a trap that I fell into, was not like preparing, and not that I don't know, it was fine, but I didn't sorry guys, Jessie's Bluetooth is still connected, and she's
you have a car. You have a car.
Don't mind her.
That tops when my phone rang. Just saying.
Yeah. Like literally
twice.
just
Rochelle,
reject the call,
twice.
Jessie. So like as we started going live, Tony was like, Rochelle, did you put your phone on silent today? Because it's gone off twice before. But yeah, Rochelle's glad that now Jessie's the bad guy.
Talking about disposable income. So
Yes.
I had to give 3 notice at my job at the moment before I start full time at Monaco and do my salon full time. And so because I know that I'm not going to be making as much as what I make now because I'm on a salary and I'm going to my own income in Monaco. I'm starting from part-time job basically. I've got 3 months and I have budgeted to an inch of its life the money that I have to make sure I have a nest egg because I don't want it to be, I don't know, I'm one of those people that I like proving people wrong. And like when I joined the Air Force, people were like, oh, you won't make it, blah, blah, blah. So it was real fun going to Anzac Days and being like, yes, I'm still in. Like showing all my teachers that they were wrong and that I could actually take orders. I just didn't like them.
You're such a shithead though. Like,
Hey, you already hired me. But yeah, so with my dad, he's very like, because my mum's a beautician and he kind of carries the house, he reckons anyway, but whatever. I don't want him to be like, I told you it was a bad idea to leave your very stable but boring job to do something you want to do and that you love it.
My father right now.
Yeah. So I'm real glad that I did the how to set your
daddy
prices and
issues
stuff.
are in another episode.
But yeah, like I'm gonna be so focused on no, this has to work. Like I'm gonna be so driven to make it work.
yeah.
That I think, it's going to be real good after doing the how to set your prices and getting it all square before I jumped in the deep end.
Yeah.
There's nothing more satisfying than when they come, like when you go home for a dinner or whatever, and they're like, oh, how much money did you make this week?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, actually, I made this much, which is more than what I was making when I was working.
Yeah, like we shouldn't end up bitter about it, but definitely like when I was running, when I was running
With the index finger.
when I was running the salon full time, like, and so you have more people sitting in front of you more often. Like, I would have so many clients go, "Oh, do you do this full time?" And I'd be like, "Look around you. There are 4 full-time staff sitting in here right now. Yes, I do this full time. I do this 4 times full time because I'm paying 3 other people to be with me." And like, so I do enjoy being able to be like, I mean, I don't ever keep it a secret that my first full-time year, I made $117,000 revenue, and people can quote that by now. But I'm like, yes, it is possible. Like, we're not. But I also thought coming into this industry as a very naive 21-year-old that had no care in the world for hair, makeup, nails, or anything, that everyone in the industry was just dumb and couldn't do anything else. Which is like, genuinely,
people
but
still
not
say
alone.
the same stuff to me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, beauty school dropout kind of.
And especially being blonde. Like, it's almost like being sexist, but they're being curious.
I'm sorry, just because I'm blonde doesn't mean I'm stupid. Yes, I'm ditzy, but I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
Don't hate me because
That is controversial, but to me.
No, totally. People have always second guessed what I did, so it is nice. But the thing is, though, back at the start when they were second guessing me, they were kind of right too, because I didn't know all the things that we're going to go through today. And like, I didn't. I just knew I had money in the bank. That was it.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
Yes. So what we are going to do, Gina said, hey girls, good to see you all on campus today. Yeah, we're all here. We'd love in the comments to hear your stories about all the things that we chat about today, but I'm going to sneak into a few facts and figures from a Salon Success module, but not Rochelle's favorite. This is actually from the business plan module, which I think is the very first one. And so there's a couple of things that I just think to make sure that you don't fall into the same trap as us, you can start right now and make sure that you have on the table at all times.
Maybe while we go through this stuff, Penny, the guys at home watching could put in like their biggest guilty pleasure. Like, what's the thing that you spend way too much money on? Like, are you guys glitter at it? Yeah.
No, I have
You're just all the things
now.
Food.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Chocolate.
convenience food as well.
One
like
month,
takeaways.
I went through like how much I spent on Starbucks, and let's just say I haven't bought Starbucks since I did that.
Yeah.
Baker's delight.
Yeah.
Oh man. Mine's
So,
just food.
Just food.
Yeah, I can
yeah.
stick
You
to a
messaged us the
budget no
other day.
matter what until food.
Yeah. You messaged us the other day, like, so I got really angry and I angry ordered.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I
yeah,
did.
that's a thing.
I don't even know what I was angry at, but I remember angry ordering Uber Eats. So alrighty, so the first thing that like I've got kind of like a little to-do list of things that you should know within 5 minutes of me asking. So these are not things that, well, here's the thing, like Tony panicked when I mentioned this to her before, but she said she's got it on the computer.
Yeah.
That's within 5 minutes. And I don't want you to tell me the answer necessarily. I just want to know, could you have this answer in 5 minutes? So the first one, and this is kind of easy because it's February, but let's pretend it's not, or that it's financial year to date, because I'm going to say what I want to know is whether or not you could tell me your year to date revenue within 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yes,
Really?
Tony's a yes, Rochelle's a yes.
Yeah.
Mariah's
5 minutes.
maybe.
I mean, I'd be going
It
through
depends
some
how long
bank
the
Like,
computer-
can I have 7 minutes? Like,
Yeah.
so remember that
Good's the
revenue
Wi-Fi.
is revenue is the big number. So it's every
Yeah.
single cent that you have had come in this year.
No, I
And
definitely could. I just
and-
my spreadsheet, remember?
yes, I
Getting used to the
remember.
fact that I have
So-
one now.
Your accountant will normally do a financial year to date. So that's the 1st of April 1 year to the 31st of March the following year. So they'll normally work on that. And technically that's probably how you should be working on it. But for me, my goals are usually year by year. So I personally track mine calendar year to date, and then my accountant can do whatever she wants. But so that's the first thing to check in on, is whether or not you could tell us your year to date revenue within 5 minutes. You don't have to know. I don't know this stuff off the top of my head, but I know exactly how to find it out. So the second one that'll get you on the right track to profit being your sanity and not revenue just being something fun is whether you could tell me your cost of goods sold, or COGS, within 5 minutes. So let me just elaborate first on what that is for our listeners. So cost of goods sold is what you spent, like you could not do this service without it. So it doesn't, it's more that like, if you're, so say you have 10 clients now, and then you have 100 in a year's time, these costs will have changed drastically. So for example, you spend like, say $5 on a product to do a certain service. Well, you do 10 of those, it costs you $50. You do 100 of those, it costs you 500. However, your power bill does not change by tenfold when you go from 10 to 100. So your power bill, your lease, those sorts of things, those are not cost of goods sold. The things that directly change when, so they're called variable costs, the things that directly change when you increase your clientele, that's cost of goods sold. So could you tell me your year-to-date cost of goods sold in 5 minutes?
I'd probably need 15.
15 for Mariah. Tony's onto it.
Yeah.
Rochelle's a maybe.
Yeah. Like I'm just trying to visualize my spreadsheet. I have a lot of them. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
My spreadsheet is split into cost of goods sold and
And
operating
fixed costs,
expenses. Yeah. Variable
Okay.
and fixed costs.
Yeah.
Mariah's like, yeah, same.
No, I mean, I've seen that bit in some
Yeah.
successful. I'm pretty sure I know
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so
But I knew what you were talking about just then.
this is good.
It's a start.
So then if you have your year-to-date revenue and your year-to-date cost of goods sold, then you should be able to tell me within 5 minutes your gross profit.
Definitely.
So gross
One minus
profit
the other.
is, just revenue minus the cost of goods sold, the actual variable costs. And so there is gross profit and there's net profit, and all you're getting at the moment is your gross profit. And from that, you can look at it as a percentage instead of just as one minus the other. And that percentage is your gross profit margin. So as long as you can do some flash maths, then you can get your gross profit margin pretty quickly as well. And
You
that's
can YouTube how to do that, because I had a complete mind blank. And
on
then
how
I-
to get a percentage.
Yes, yeah. And YouTube told me how to do it.
Yeah.
I
So-
just text Penny.
So it's gross profit number divided by revenue times 100.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now you don't need to YouTube.
Bookmark it.
So I should have put it in a little title.
They might
So-
just have to sit through me flipping them back off again.
Yeah.
To the good bit.
So with the gross profit and having a gross profit margin, that's your first step to knowing how well you're doing. And depending who you talk to, what gross profit you should have is like so astronomically different. Like some people are like, it should be 25%. That's a load of shit. Some people are like, it should be 70 to 80%. That's unachievable. I've heard a lot of people settle around the 55 to 60, but the best bit of advice I ever got is that it should be as high as you can make it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like businesses are all going to be different. Industries are all different. Starting points to how experienced or how, what's the word? Like, how long you've been around, established you are, that will all change. So gross profit should always be the highest it possibly can be, and you should be looking at your costs and expenses like monthly, if not weekly, to go, okay, what did I spend that I didn't actually need, and being really honest. Like, so I actually, because I'm in like a really what's the word? I don't have any today apparently. I'm in a really reflective and evaluating phase at the moment. So I actually email my business coach every single day with every single thing that left my account the day before, and whether it was in the budget or whether or not I messed up. And she doesn't reply every day. She reads it every day. But like if she sees something, or if I say like, what do you think? Then she'll come back. But it's just an accountability buddy to be like, no, you didn't need that. And it is good because when I have to type it out every day, I'm like, oops, I got Uber Eats.
Angry
again.
Uber Eats.
Yeah. But it is good to be like, hey, that was in my budget as well. So actually, even though I spent this, it's fine. Like, and it's good because, like, for example, the other day we got a couple of new things for the training room that we hadn't had before, and they were like fun to have, not need to have. And Mariah was like, should you have got that? Because she knows what phase I'm in at the moment. And I was able to go, well, actually, I was under budget. So yes, but it's nice to know straight off the bat that you're within the budget.
Yeah.
Gina said, thanks to how to set your prices plus my own records, I have it all in my laptop.
Yeah. Way to go. So proud of you.
Now I feel real guilty.
So once you have your gross profit, that's not everything, because you also have operating costs. So your operating costs are the fixed ones that don't change drastically when your clientele changes. So that's your power bill, your rent, your insurances, all those sorts of things. So could you tell me your year-to-date operating costs within 5 minutes?
I could tell you within a minute.
Okay,
Well,
let's
it's all
not
in
show
that
off
same
Rochelle.
spreadsheet, so as long as that's up and running, it's right there.
Well, because I've only just redone it for when I go full time.
And also it's February.
And it's
Well,
Right,
for
yeah.
me, like, because my year to date is tax
Financial,
year to date, so I'm going all the way back to the end of March.
That's fun because for the last 3 months of 2018, I was really excited that I was going to get to the end of the year soon, because on my spreadsheet, I can get to review a whole year. So the idea that you have your end of year coming up, I'm like so excited for you, because you get
Like,
to go
what
over it
did I
and analyze
make?
it all.
Yeah.
What about you?
I know. We're weird.
Hopefully
we
they're big
understand
things.
ourselves.
Yes, we
though.
do. Hopefully it's not the small things in life. Hopefully it's the big things,
True,
because we're
true.
looking at money.
Yeah.
Mariah, could you get us operating costs within 5 minutes?
Yeah, because I think there'd be very few of them at the moment.
Well,
But that's
does that
because
mean,
you're not doing it properly.
Yes.
then.
Agreed.
yeah, that means that we don't have a portion of your mortgage, and
Yeah.
we don't have a portion yet. So that's
So,
your thing to,
I could give you what they should be.
Yeah.
It's just that's not exactly what my business is paying out currently.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so once
Yeah,
you
mine doesn't
have,
pay for my rent or anything because it comes straight out of Anthony's pay. Like it's too hard for me to pay him back the rent and then prove that was for rent.
so then you need you're
I've got the
renting,
worst
right?
case scenario one.
But you're renting, right?
Yeah.
So then Anthony as a human should be invoicing
Your
Aphrodite
business.
and Iris.
Yeah.
And so the Aphrodite and Iris has a bill to pay, and then you have less tax. Like this whole too hard thing is costing you money because you're paying tax because you didn't pay a lease.
He used to charge
okay.
you
Yeah.
like 10% of rent.
It's
Yeah.
actually 11.5.
Yeah, good that you know that.
However much your room
Yeah, yeah,
bigs
yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to your house.
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Interestingly enough, I got told by my accountant as well, it's not necessarily like just the room. So for all of us working out of bedrooms, spare rooms, or something like that, it's actually not just the room, because like if you're using your now computer cupboard or desk in the lounge
Yes.
as well, you've got to include that. If you're making clients drinks in your kitchen,
Laundry.
you've got to include that. The laundry. So you might actually be surprised just
How
how
much
much
space.
Of,
always
yeah, or
talk
the
to your
number of
accountant about it though,
percentage. Yes.
because so when Monaco was a teenager and we were in
Oh,
wasn't
hell.
a
How does
baby
that make
but
it now?
old. Well, 95% of all businesses are closed within 5 years, and we're at 7.5. So
Yeah.
I'm
Good job.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Monaco was in my lounge, kitchen, dining, and
Bedroom.
one of the bedrooms. Bye. So when
Don't you guys go anywhere.
no, we were saying bye to a student who's leaving for the day. When Monaco was in all of that, my accountant was like, okay, if we make it 65, people are gonna like the IRD are gonna be like, no one lives like that. So I think we made it slightly lower, but he was like it was a lot.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
I just lived there by myself, and
Yeah.
the house was a business. So, but
Note to self, talk to my accountant.
yeah. So stuff like rent, I don't quote me, but this is what I understand, and I would talk to an accountant always. But stuff like rent won't come across GST, but it will help with your income
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should definitely charge everything.
Okay.
Yeah. And then come back to us with your operating expenses.
Yeah.
So if you then know your operating expenses, you then can tell us within 5 minutes your net profit.
Yep.
So net profit is the smallest number. It is the revenue minus everything you've ever spent. So even if you are struggling with the idea of operating expenses and cost of goods sold and all these other things that you might have never heard of, if you can do biggest number minus
Everything going
everything
out.
you've ever spent, then you will have net profit. And net profit is Jessie's just crawling under the table to get something behind us.
Put it in the
She's trying not to be seen. If you can do the biggest incoming number minus the biggest outgoing number, you will have net profit, and that is ultimately yours. That's all the profit.
That is your cream on the top.
That's the cream on the top. Because
Yeah.
the other thing is that operating expenses should already include your salary. So you should already be paying yourself. This is a mistake I think a lot of people make and that I made, is thinking that net profit is what you get to keep and not factoring in a wage as an
Yeah.
expense. No, you should be paid out of the business, and the net profit is the cream, not the main. That's not your salary.
Not the cow.
Yeah, it's not the cow. So you should be able to work out net profit. And then the thing as well is what I've been told with net profit is 15 to 25 isn't awful. Someone else said net should be 40%, and I was like, holy shit, how am I going to do that? But then again, the best thing I was ever told is just as high as you can make it. And if your net profit is somewhere down 5 or 10, then okay, you really need to look at something's not working. But as long as your goal is to increase your net profit by 1% every month or 3% every quarter, so it's spaced out a bit differently. As long as your goal is to increase it until you're sitting comfortably at about 25 to 30% net profit, then you're okay. Don't
And
stress
for these
about
girls
it.
who are just starting out, that goal can be getting towards making a profit, right?
Well, yes, but in terms of gross profit, they should have a really healthy gross profit from the start, because cost of goods sold is within their control.
Yeah.
What's not in control that you're saying is if you have 2 clients but you still have rent, then you don't have net profit, and that's totally right. But yeah, they should be moving towards net profit. As long as net profit increases by whatever 1% a quarter, who cares? As long as you have a goal and you're always working towards increasing incomings and decreasing outgoings, then your net profit will work better. Yeah. And we kind of touched on profit margin already, but so you will have a net profit margin the same way you had a gross profit margin, and that's just the percentage version. And that's it's usually better to look at that, because $1 million company can have can be really happy, like, oh, we made $100,000, like I'm rolling in it, but actually that's not a very high percentage. That's not enough of a nest egg to keep your business rolling if there was a rainy day and something bad happened. So a couple of like other little things that I think are quite good to know, and like this, like our topic today is Mariah's phone's going flat, so we might lose the camera on Tony and Mariah. But
just always, you guys are always cutting me out of this thing.
It's just it's a you thing, but they're still on the same mic as us. But so the things we talked about so far are 100% like number things. What are you giggling at?
The fact that Mariah never made us just make it to a podcast. If her phone dies, I'll probably cry of laughter.
Yeah, we'll give her the camera. Even though most people
I'm the
listen,
funny one.
Even though most people listen to this and it doesn't even matter. Okay, so it's okay, Rochelle. She can't get control of herself. Okay.
I'm good.
It's too far.
Alrighty, so what we've talked about so far is very numbery, and that can be quite overwhelming, but it's not just the numbers that help you increase profit, it is your service and what you're offering as well. So another good thing to be able to pull up within 5 minutes is what's called a net promoter score in marketing. And what it is essentially the number of people who would recommend you if asked. So like the way that we get our net promoter score at Monaco is through feedback forms, where after you attend a class, we give you a feedback form. And one of the questions is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer a friend to Monaco? And if they say, for example, 9 out of 10, then the average of all those scores over the year is our net promoter score. And we do follow it up by, so we follow it up by saying afterwards, what could we do to improve that score so that we're getting really useful feedback to constantly be increasing and changing it. But you guys can do that too. You can send feedback out to a client after their first visit and just have those 2 questions. Like we have a few more, but you can just have those 2 questions, put them in a monthly draw to win something, to encourage them to reply. But having that net promoter score is really good because it's a very honest way to know things about your business, and it's another thing that you can work on improving by 0.5% each time. And that follow-up question is really good because that's the most useful stuff to know. Is like it's not like it doesn't. Did you have a nice time? Yes. Okay, great. That's not enough. No. Would you tell your friends to come here? Because like I've got clients or like friends and stuff that I can think of that are like, well, I go to this place because I like her personality, or I go to this place because I like the colors they have. But then they'll say, but I wouldn't recommend her because blah, blah, blah. Like she's too expensive or it's whatever. Like, so that's actually so much more important. So having that sort of evaluation or a net promoter score, whatever you want to call it, is another way of working towards your profit sanity instead of just, just did they rebook? Yes. Will they tell their friends? No, that's so much more important. True. Do you guys have any form of feedback that you do?
First started, I did. I made like a SurveyMonkey link or something, but then I stopped it and I don't know why.
Did you run out of responses on SurveyMonkey because it's a freebie?
Probably.
Because there's SurveyMonkey that's free but only for a time, and Jotform is also free but only with like 10 questions, but that's fine. Ours is on Jotform for free.
Okay, well I'm just going to use that one.
Typeform as well. Yeah, SurveyMonkey's good, but it does have a limit on how many responses you can get before they
that's probably why then. Yeah. But that was really helpful because it was like I'd just done training and I was like, please tell me what I can improve on. And it was mainly like work colleagues and friends.
Did you find people gave you better feedback with it being like not face to face?
Yeah, 100%.
And even if I have a prize associated with it, I will still always it's by choice. So I'll say like, this is totally anonymous, but if you want to enter to win a prize, then you can put your name here. So people are quite happy to just give feedback anonymously. Yeah. And they're way more ruthless, which is a good thing for us. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
As long as you've got like
thick skin.
Yeah. I was going to say a strong drink, but same thing.
I remember the very first time someone commented like, your driveway was dirty, and I cried.
And Ants was like,
Ants was like,
I mean, maybe her driveway was dirty.
Babe, like
Dirty with what?
Yeah, like she
Like,
said that there was
who
too many
knows?
stones and stuff because she wore bare feet, and I was like,
Ooh,
got
that's
real
her own
upset about
problem.
it. And then Answer's
This
like,
was New Zealand.
do you want her to come back? And I was like, not really. He's like, then don't worry about it.
Yeah,
But
but
she was one of those clients.
To
She
be
was my
fair,
very
though-
first like complete random.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
she
that
was
sort of
ruthless.
feedback's good because the fact that you cried, I think, is a good thing because it means that you actually gave a shit.
Yeah.
And then B, the fact
it's
that
something
she
that's-
told you, I mean, maybe your driveway was dirty.
Yeah.
And like it can be quite easy. Like, I mean, my reaction to that, because I don't have those same priorities, is quite defensive on your behalf, but actually maybe you should clean your driveway.
Yeah, like maybe you should, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the
Oh,
hardest
and I think
things.
one of her other ones was like, your house is too westy. Like,
Oh.
yeah, but all her stuff was very. It wasn't about the salon or the
That's
service.
alright.
So
She
I
was
feel
just
like she
looking
was
for
just
something
looking for
different.
something to
Your
like.
house is an Air Force, like you don't have control
No.
over what your house is like.
No, but yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
just remember being real upset, and it's just like, what can I do to make it better? And I was
My
like,
granddad
let's get burger
used-
fuel.
Yeah, yes.
Food.
Food fixes everything.
It'll make me
My-
happy.
My granddad used to say, you can't please all of the people all of the time.
Yeah.
You can only
Yes.
please some of the people some of the
Yeah.
time. And I think we definitely teach that one to a T at Monaco, in that you are going to cater to a very specific type of client. We've talked about avatars in the past.
Yeah,
Like, not every single person that walks through that door is just going to love you. And that's okay. You know, like, we all have tiers of friends, right? Like, not
You're
everyone
also
cracks.
not going to love all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And not everyone cracks your inner circle of friends, and that's very much likely to be the case. You know, I bet you guys have been to a great hairdresser, but you never went back because of one reason or another. You know,
Yeah.
maybe they
Yeah.
just were out of the way. Maybe their house was too westy and they didn't clean their driveway. Who knows?
I would not go to those guys.
Maybe their driveway needed sweeping.
Yes, sweep a driveway,
Maybe their
guys.
phone went off twice in the middle of
Oh,
your
okay.
appointment.
This has not turned into let's attack Shell.
We're
Shut up,
just
Miss.
beginning
I
of
can
this
never
kid.
get through a whole podcast.
Yeah, well, come on.
Beck said, "Oh, how I wish I could be at home to participate in this," because she wants to be able to grab her numbers.
Oh,
okay.
Well, we're glad that you're 5 minutes away from them when at home.
Yeah, that's a
That's
good
a
thing.
good thing.
Wait,
Yeah,
does this
totally.
mean now I'm like half an hour away from mine?
Yes, you are.
Auckland City.
Yeah, suddenly everyone's
too.
got them like on their phone.
Yeah.
Although
Oh,
it's
God.
like 5:45, so more like an hour and a
hour.
half away.
It actually
Yeah.
goes like this. Boop, 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 boop. Hey, Glenn. Open the computer. The little
So-
folder that looks like this.
Okay, so what things have you guys done to change your profit? Either cutting expenses or increasing your revenue. What tips have you got?
One thing I did, which I don't know is a good thing or not, so we'll see how the reaction goes from Penny.
Find
But
your driveway.
I
Never.
I got so when I trained at Monaco, I'm one of those people that's like, oh, goodies, let me buy all the goodies. Bought way too many goodies, and then I was like, okay, I have too many colors. I have too many glitter options. At one point, I had like 25 glitter options. Don't look at me.
That's not
That's
anywhere
the
near the
start
biggest
of
number
what
that
I
I
heard.
heard.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was going to be worse.
I thought
than
you had
that.
way more.
Nah, and so I sold a bunch of it off,
Yeah.
and so counted that as like income into my business. Which, okay, looking at everything, it's not a good idea. But now
It's
it's
not
so much
income.
simpler.
Well,
It's
Like-
just less outcome.
There's-
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
There's two
I don't have as many to
sides to the
replace now.
story. So on the one hand, you have cash cows and dogs, and you should always be looking at the cash cows are the things that make you the most money,
we
and
just
dogs
talked
are the
about this
things.
a little bit, yeah.
Dogs are the things that don't do anything, like stuff that just sits on the shelf, that sort of thing. On the one hand, dogs aren't making you money anyway, so to sell them for half of what you bought them for is making more money than they were going to make sitting on your shelf anyway. So on the one hand, it's not the worst thing you've ever done. But then on the other hand, just don't
I've
buy
ever
it in the
done.
first place.
Oh yeah, I know, but I
Because,
got
like,
so excited, and I
I
was
know.
like,
But you know, like
Colours,
if you
yeah.
spent $100 and then you sell it for $75, you still just
Yeah.
burnt
Lose money.
$25.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you just threw $25 down the trash. But
oh,
on the
I
other
totally
hand,
understand that.
yeah. But if it was a dog, get rid of it.
Yeah.
You always get rid of the dogs because they're not making you any money. And so the idea is that if you have, say, 3 glitters that no one's chosen in the last year, then you sell them for like $10, even though you paid $20 each. Then that $10 that you made can be used to buy a thing which will make you money, and therefore you make back that loss really quickly.
Yeah, so what I did with the money that I made from the things I sold is I bought a paraffin bath, and it was like the best thing I put in my salon.
Oh.
So for the first month I had it, it was like an enticement for people to book in. And now I've got people that are like, I want the bath dippy thing. Can I just come in for that? I don't want my nails done. So I have clients that just come in for like a shape buff file and a paraffin because they love it. Yeah, it was real good. Cool. So that was like the best thing I did is got rid of all those things and bought a paraffin bath. Yeah,
that's a dog's thing.
That reminds me I need to get rid of all my dogs.
Yeah.
But all my dogs are things that I've won. Because I'm a Scrooge now that I'm full-time. I don't buy anything unless it's replacing like top and base coat and like all that boring stuff. But it's all like I enter all these competitions and it's just random stuff that you get. So it's like, I don't even use this brand, so I need to sell that off.
Yeah. I have clients from like years ago who I would get every single new color that came out. And then for a really long time, I'm like, well, I've got 150 colors. I don't need new ones. But those clients that have been with me ages, even though I've not had a new color in like 2 years, they still come in and go, got any new colors? And I'm like, how many more do you want? There's 150 sitting behind me.
You guys can see the shelf behind her head.
Yeah. So, yeah, I totally get that. Mariah, what have you done to either cut costs or increase revenue?
Probably like offering retail items. It sounds silly, but the amount of times I would say to a client, oh, blah, 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 cuticle oil. I mean, this is obviously industry specific, but like cuticle oil will fix 99% of your problems. And I didn't have any. So they'd all say, where can I get that? And now I can be like, well, actually here. Whereas previously I'd have to be like, oh, go down to the chemist. And I watch their eyes glaze over and go, nah, too much work. Like, they're happy to give you the money and take the product and go use it.
And they're happy to give you a lot more money than you think. Like, I used to always try and sell the smallest size one, which was $10, because I felt really guilty trying to get money out of them.
Yes.
And then we had a girl start with us, Jazz, who just every time she mentioned cuticle oil would say it's $30 and go for the middle-sized one. And every single time they said yes. And I was like, what the hell? How do you do that? And she's like, do what? I just told them how much it is. Like, and they all just were like, oh, okay. Here's $30.
Well, I guess if they're a regular and they're spending, I don't know, $85 on a manicure with you every 2 weeks, $30 is nothing. And it lasts for ages.
I mean, our small ones last about 3 months.
Yeah.
So
the thing that I just got stuck in though is like, if I tell them that cuticle oil is good for them, and then they're like, where do I get it? And I say from me, I worry that they think the only reason that I said it was good is because I wanted their money. So I would always go for like, oh no, it's only $10 and it'll last ages. And then Jazz just sweeps in and goes like, $30, give it to me. Like, okay.
Sometimes confidence is your friend. It's for sure.
Well, I guess a way of thinking of it is saying, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They'll say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a big person like that. I'm a big believer in stuff like that. I'm like, the worst that's going to happen is they'll say no.
Yeah.
It's not like they will never come back because I tried to sell them cuticle oil.
And for me, a lot of the time, it depends on the personality of my client. Like some of them, I can be a bit rough and stupid. Because that's like the kind of client that I attract well with my own personality.
Someone rough and stupid.
Yeah.
All you TLC nails clients out there.
That's
No, but I'm the same. I used to call my clients like the good ones my quirkies. I'd be like, all the weird ones, they're my favorite.
I mean, I tell them that all the time and they love it and they give me the same kind of banter back. And that's kind of how we've built such a strong relationship.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you have to know your clients before you can do that.
I think one of the best things I did, and this is kind of one of those things where I feel like I should have just done it before, but for those of you who know me, cue awkward laughter from everyone around the table. I'm not particularly patient. And
actually,
so I have an idea and I want to make it happen, so I make it happen. And with like so for example, the software that we use to use like that our products are in, our point of sale software Vend, like someone I spoke to about building a website years ago was like, oh, if you used Vend, we could integrate it with your website. And I was like, hell yeah, you could. So I got Vend, signed up for it. It was like X amount of dollars a month, and that's fine. Well, now Q, having done research for like a new website and stuff, they're like, oh, we could use this one. It's free, and it's not like that much worse. Like you lose a couple of functions, but it's not some awful thing. And I've put thousands of dollars into Ben. So lately I've been shopping around more, and I'm still not very good at it. But like, for example, last week, the week before, I met with a potential new accountant, and then and I loved him, like straight off the bat. I was like, yes, this is good. This feels like a good relationship. I feel like he's going to help me out a lot. But I was like, no, we're making smart business decisions now. So I held out another week until the second person that had been recommended to me could meet with me, and I'm going with her. Yeah. So like,
I need to stop and think and say, what would Alicia say?
Yes, that's true. I do need to do that. And that's why I have you guys, because I still will be like I'll put stuff into my group chat with Alicia and be like, I'm going to do this. And then she just goes quiet. Like, I'm not dealing with that anymore.
Don't get paid to do that.
That's definitely something I only have just started really being any good at, is shopping around instead of getting excited about stuff like that. And on the same train of thought, like another thing that I think I've done to cut costs and increase revenue is actually getting a more expensive accountant, which sounds counterintuitive, but the new accountant that I've signed up with had cost almost twice as much as the one that I had before. However, she's going to do all my invoicing, all my reconciliation in Xero. She's doing twice as much. She's also going to have monthly meetings with me for the first wee while and teach me more about my numbers and stuff beyond the stuff we've talked about today. So I think although she's costing me more, so in theory my profit and all my things are going in the wrong direction, long term she's an investment. And
she's an investment in you.
Yeah,
like in
I'm
your
gonna
time.
have more time. I'm gonna have more knowledge. She's gonna do things really well. Like my old accountant was great, but because he's based in the South Island, I couldn't have that same hands-on stuff with him. And so Lisa is gonna be real good, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on decreasing expenses, increasing profit, making actual money instead of just cash?
Just keep trucking and like, yes, okay, you do this for the love, for sure. But I promise you'll love it just that little bit more when it starts making you some dosh.
Yeah. Money's real fun.
It really is.
Anyone who said money doesn't buy you happiness is wrong. Money buys you so many happy things.
Do you know, at the beginning of last year, I said to somebody, oh, work's offered me like extra hours, but it's basically like a 10K a year pay rise. And they were like, oh, cool, so you're going to do it. And I was like, I don't know, like extra hours.
Like, I mean,
and then I said to them, I wish was more financially motivated in life. And she's such a little guru. She says to me, don't wish it, Mariah. Just say that you are and become it. And I like rolled my eyes like, oh, love you to pieces, but that's not me.
Yeah.
And then here I am a year later, like, maybe I like money.
Like, I mean, on the one hand, yeah, okay, like if you're miserable, your life sucks. Like, money doesn't buy you happiness. And people that don't have money can be happy, but there's so much weight off your shoulders if you can pay your rent next week and you know you can. So like, and
if it doesn't buy you happiness, poverty don't help. Either.
And like, remember that the net profit was your cream, not how you paid your bills. So that cream is a nest egg. That's how you make it all. Yeah, like that's how you have spare. That's what you do when everything falls down, is that net profit. So yeah. Cool. Well, so we're going to wrap up there for the night. And next week we're going to be chatting about ways to get clients to rebook.
Oh,
so this is a requested topic.
Spoiler alert, ask them.
yeah, totally. Okay, well, we'll skip
I'm
that
not
now.
here for next one, so I'm going to have to like sneaky listen in.
Where are you going to be?
Playing rugby.
Okay, but you better win.
Exercise.
Well, I'm not going to be playing it. I'm going to be telling other girls how to play it.
Well, just have it on your phone. Yeah, and then you just go, oi, and then go back.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure games are at lunchtime, so we'll be fine.
So what you're saying is you're going to dial in the evening?
Yeah.
I mean, I can.
We'll see you
To be fair, Mariah's missed way more than me, so I feel like I should be allowed.
I have been there every time.
You've tried. But there are other ways for trying.
Yeah. No gold stars for Mariah.
Righto.
So,
nearly
What's
that? I think your phone's ringing.
Alrighty, so I have had with me Mariah.
Hi, see you guys.
Wish for Nails on Insta and Facebook. We've had Tony.
Hi, I'm TLC.nailsnz on Facebook, Insta, and I'm over on the North Shore.
And Rochelle.
Aphrodite.iris on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm out west.
And Mariah's in Silverdale-ish.
Yeah.
And if you want to see what I'm up to, I am Penny Lawler, nail artist, or you can catch anything that the Monaco team is up to over at Monaco Nail Academy on Facebook and Insta. We'll see you next, or talk to you
Some of us.
next week about getting clients to rebook. In the meantime, leave us a comment and share the podcast if you can. And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.